it's Susan Milner with Florida Featured Realty, and today I want to take a moment to follow up on a question I had the other day. Someone had asked me, what's the difference between a real estate agent and a real estate broker? And I answered the question, of course, and I thought there's probably other people that don't know the answer to this either that are not in the industry. So I know I have a lot of followers that are considering getting into the business, so I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and answer this. So it varies by state, but in the state of Florida, a real estate license would be a real estate salesperson's license, and that would be the first license you would get when you're looking to start a real estate career. And that's, of course, your pre-licensing, do the application, the fingerprints, take the test, get your license, all that. So in order to go from a real estate agent to a real estate broker, you have to have at least, I think it's 2 years as a real estate agent, and then you have pre-licensing and the application, and then of course after that the post-licensing. Now, a real estate agent is anyone who has a real estate license. A real estate broker had a real estate license and they did the continuing education to get their real estate broker's license. I do hear in other states, all agents are called brokers in some states, but here it's different, and a broker then can own their own real estate company and have agents work for them. The broker can also be a broker associate and just basically be like a real estate agent with the extra education, and also work for a real estate brokerage. So a real estate agent gets a license. They have to be working under a real estate broker that owns a brokerage, and then they can eventually get their broker's license, and they can either, like I said, open up their own company or work as a broker associate under another broker. There are also some other terms that you'll hear, like a listing agent and selling agent or buyer's agent. A lot of times the selling agent one gets confused. The selling agent, although it sounds like seller, it's actually the buyer's agent. So the listing agent would be the one that had the property listed for sale, and then the buyer's agent that brought the buyer to the transaction. Almost always there's two different agents. Sometimes an agent will work both sides of the transaction. In Florida, we can do that because we're actually transaction brokers. In some states, it's illegal, and it's illegal to be a dual agent, which means that I can't be a single agent for my seller and a single agent for the buyer. I can only be a transaction broker. So those are little differences, but sometimes even agents, they're like, if they hear the word selling agent, they're like, no, I'm the buyer's agent, I'm not the listing agent. And I'm like, no, selling agent means buyer's agent. So if you hear these words intertwined, sometimes when you're going to closing and the transaction's closing, the title company's asking these things, sometimes these words do get a little confusing. But listing agent, seller. Selling agent or buyer's agent, buyer. And again, you can have the same agent, and they won't have a full representation to either party. They're going to be more representing the transaction. We're transaction brokers, unless we come and say, you know what, we're going to work solely for you. We're going to be a buyer's agent, which would make me a single agent for you. But that limits some of the properties I can show you, which means that I cannot show you any of my brokerage's listings because all the listings belong to the broker. So in turn, all the customers are the brokers, and so if I was representing you singly, I couldn't show you any of those listings. I'd have to transition over to a transaction broker. In Florida, since we don't have to even actually disclose this, it's supposed to be known that we're transaction brokers, it can get a little complicated as a customer. So if you are a customer, you want to ask your agent, are you working as a transaction broker? That's what you should assume, unless they have you sign something different. And if they're having you sign something, find out what that means for you. Because what if you go to an agent that works at a company that has 500 agents? Well, guess what? You can now not see any of those 500 agents' listings. They can't represent you on those transactions. So it might not behoove you to go with a single agent at that time, because then you're limiting yourself what they can show you. But they can always transition, so it's not the big deal. But I know this is a little deeper than I wanted to get today. I really just want to talk about real estate sales associate and broker associate. So I don't mean to overcomplicate things. If you have specific questions, you can message me, leave a comment if you want. We can have more conversation about what it means, but definitely know what kind of transaction you're getting into and know who's representing whom, because that's really important to know, what that entails. And your agent should be doing that in their first meeting with you, going over how things work, and regardless of what state you're in. because all the states, they're going to have some kind of, this is how we handle business. And in some areas, it's more prevalent that they would be a single agent and that they would have you sign an agreement. Other places, depending on location, it may not be common at all to sign a buyer's brokerage agreement and be a single agent. So again, it's customary based upon area. Just like a lot of other things, it's different in different states than it is in, Florida. So this has been about Florida and real estate agent, real estate broker, real estate broker associate. And if you have any questions about obtaining a license or to check the status of someone's license, you can go to myfloridalicense.com and you can look anybody up. If you suspect someone doesn't have a real estate license, look them up and make sure that they have one. And if anyone's pretending to be a real estate agent, you can turn them in right there. Like, you can report it right on the website, unlicensed activity. That is a very big no-no. So be careful out there. Make sure that you know the agent you're working with. Make sure that they have their license and it's current and active, and that they're with a reputable real estate brokerage, and find out how they're representing you. Now let's talk about the Realtor label. You'll probably hear it, make sure you hire a real estate agent that's also a realtor, and why that's important. And why is that important? Legally, a real estate agent is a real estate agent and can handle your real estate transaction. However, those who have chosen to become members of the Realtor Association, the National Association of Realtors, which also should have a state and a local branch as well, have taken it upon themselves to withhold a little higher, not a little, but quite a bit higher level of ethical standards as well. So you can ask your real estate agent if they're also a realtor. Most are probably going to let you know they are, or might be on their card or their website. But if they are a realtor, you can go on to Realtor.com, for instance, and you can read actually Realtor.org is the official Realtor website, and you can go and you can read about the ethics that set them apart from being just a regular real estate agent. So that's, again, the Realtor and how that makes them different from just a real estate agent or a real estate broker, how they're representing you. So that's been it for today. Susan Milner with Florida Future Realty, and I hope you make it a great day.